How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Cole Hastings. If you're trying to evolve your body and mind through a plant-based diet as well as personal development topics, then consider subscribing. This is going to be a voiceover commentary to my full pull workout. The pull workout is both back and biceps. A lot of you guys have asked me for this, so now I am delivering. Just one thing before we get into the actual workout. I highly advise you don't skip through this video at all, because through each exercise, I'm going to be explaining exactly why I'm doing the exercises the way that I'm doing them, so you can get some great form tips on how to actually perform these lifts, and you'll get some new exercises as well. So let's get into the workout. All right, so we are starting with deadlifts, one of the best exercises for your back by far. And I always start off with my heaviest compound lift at the start, and we are doing 5x5 for this. Now I'm gonna pause the video right here. And as you can see, my head is down and it's not up. I'm not looking at myself in the mirror like a lot of people do while they're doing deadlifts. And that is because you wanna keep your spine completely straight. If you look up while you're doing your deadlifts, you're going to make your spine have a lot more pain, and it's going to put a lot more pressure on your spine. And it's just, if you think about your posture when you're standing up straight, your spine is straight. So if you are lifting something heavy and you decide to lift up your head and not keep your spine straight, you are just asking for an injury. So that's why you always want to be looking down at the bottom of the deadlift. And then once you get to the top, you'll see that my head is fully up and straight. So play here. And yeah, try to keep your shoulders back. You can see that my shoulders are kind of rounding a little bit forward. If you can prevent that and try to keep your shoulders all the way back, make sure your back is totally aligned straight and you're not curving your back either. And I also I don't use shoes when I do deadlifts, and that is because you really want flat shoes when you're doing deadlifts. Only do flat shoes or no shoes at all. Next exercise, this is going to be a superset, guys. So every time you see a superset, it means that there's multiple exercises in one set. And the first one I'm doing is chin-ups. The best tips I can give you for chin-ups is to really just go all the way up, like the full form. Don't use momentum. You stop yourself at the bottom, like I do here. I just stop and then go up all the way, have your chin past the bar, and that's when you know you're getting the full range of motion. And doing it nice and slow like I'm doing it will be best for you. So we're supersetting this. This is the same set, guys. Remember, this is the same set. People are confused about that. With some rows. This is another vertical movement. I'll work a horizontal movement in there. Don't worry, guys. So this is a vertical movement. I'm going to pause right here. And as you can see, I'm kind of turning my head to the left as I'm pulling down on this. And the reason I'm doing that is because I like to get some torso rotation when I'm doing this specific machine or any other type of row, actually. When you actually rotate your torso, so I'm gonna have you guys see me as full screen now. So instead of just doing this pulling movement, just like this, if you rotate your torso a little bit, it's going to give you a much better contraction in your back, and I guarantee you're going to feel it a lot more if you do that. So instead of just doing row movements like this, try to get some rotation in there, and you're going to feel that squeeze in your back way more. And also, what I like to do for these is let my shoulder go forward a little bit. So it's that full stretch in your back, and then that full squeeze, that full contraction. And always make sure with all of these back exercises that you're doing that you are retracting your scapula. So what that means is really having your shoulders be back like this. Like you see what I'm doing right now. Every time you do a back movement, such as the pull-up, which we just saw, you want to try to push your chest out as much as possible and squeeze your traps together as much as possible. Instead of just this, which is like just going through the motion, you're not really feeling anything that way. You're not actually contracting the muscle. You want to go back, stick your chest out, and squeeze those traps together. I hope that makes sense for you guys. Let's get back into the video. I'm gonna press play here. So now we're just finishing up this exercise for this superset. Remember, this is the same set. It's all gonna be in one set of the pull-ups. So we're gonna have one more exercise for this same superset as well. You're gonna see right here. And as you can see, oh, never mind. We're just gonna get right into it. And this is rear delt flies. I am using some actual like barbell weights that you use, and the reason I'm doing that is just because it's right around that machine. If you want to use dumbbells instead for this, do that, but I'm going to pause right at the bottom here. And as you guys can see, it's kind of hard to see in the video, honestly. I am stopping at the bottom. The reason I like to do that, I did the same thing with pull-ups like I told you. I like to stop at the bottom because it is completely destroying any momentum I would have. So you see guys in the gym doing stuff like this, and they're like using their whole body and to get it up there, and they're using really heavy weight, you know, they're ego lifting. But if you really want the best contraction and you want your muscles to grow the best, stop ego lifting, pause at the bottom. Doing pause reps is really good. And then go up for the rep and don't use any momentum. So play here. And yeah, that's pretty much all the tips I have for this exercise. And this was all one set. Those 3 exercises back to back are done for a set, and you do that 4 times. Next exercise is also going to be a superset, and there's, again, 3 exercises in one set. This one is the cable row. I like to do this standing up, as you are seeing here, because it just gives me more of a chance to work on my mobility and like my control over my body. So when you're sitting down, you don't have to focus on trying to keep your body stabilized. So this is actually working your core a little bit. Now, I'm going to pause here at the top of the contraction. It's not really a good angle here, but what I'm actually doing here is, like I showed you guys before, retracting my scapula and letting my shoulders go way forward and letting my lats stretch at the top of the movement, what would be called the top of the movement. Just want to restate that because it's so important. Going to play here. Now, after this exercise, we're just going to speed it up here. I do straight arm pull downs. A lot of you guys, this is a very advanced movement, and a lot of you guys have trouble feeling this in your lats. And I gotta say, if you don't have good mind-muscle connection with your back, I would just completely skip this movement, but it is so good for working your back, and you wanna be able to keep your arms as straight as possible. So I'm gonna pause here, and you guys need to keep your arms super straight for this, or you're gonna use too much of your triceps in this movement. And I like to use the rope, as you're seeing, because I just find that I feel it the best. If you want to use a straight bar instead for the cable machine, if you want to use like the curved bar instead, as long as you have a way for you to have both your arms on there pushing straight down and driving through that motion with your lats, again, try to keep your shoulders back and your traps squeezed together at the bottom of the movement. As long as you can find something that allows you to really drive through your lats at the bottom, then it'll be fine. So I'm going to play here. And yeah, this is another superset. As you can see, I superset this with rope face pulls. And it's the same exact thing I've been preaching this whole video. I'm letting my shoulders go forward for my lats to stretch. And then at the actual contraction of the movement, I'm squeezing those traps together as much as possible. And if we pause here, you can see that my hands are like this with the rope. And that's pretty much the most optimal way to do it. Don't get it too low or you're going to start working more of your mid and lower back. Now let's play here. And that's it for back, actually. So let's get into the bicep portion. Now let's play here. I'm just starting off with some barbell curls, and keep your shoulder pretty much in the same place except for at the top of the movement. So in order to get the full range of motion here, you kind of have to go forward with your elbow. As you're seeing here, my elbow kind of moves forward right at the top. So if we pause right at the top, you can see that my elbow is slightly forward, which is fine because it really allows you to fully go up in the movement. Now let's play here. And also, I'm going to stop at the bottom of the lift. Hopefully you guys can kind of see my hands here, but I'm going to try to circle it for you guys. You want to have your hands on any bar or whatever dumbbell or whatever you're using to train your biceps. Have your wrists like this, bent, not straight. Don't have your arms like this when you're doing bicep exercises. Have your wrist bent. I know that sounds counterintuitive, like that's not something you're supposed to do. It's bad for your wrists.
but it's actually so much better to activate your biceps. This is something I learned from Jeff Cavaliere, Athlean. Shout out that channel because it's an amazing channel. We want to have our hand, our wrist like this. So when you're going up in a movement, as you see here, going up in this curl, my wrist is bent here. And reason being is that's going to take a lot of the force that the forearm uses and put it in the bicep. So make sure whenever you're doing a bicep movement, do it like this from now on. Super, super helpful tip that I just learned as well. So we're gonna play here. Just gonna finish off the barbell curls here, and we are supersetting this one as well. That means that every exercise you see in this set is all the same set. Hope you guys understand that. This is now incline dumbbells. This is really to help with the peak of the bicep. I like doing this one. And I am going to teach you guys a little something here. Pause at the bottom here. As you can see, my tricep is super contracted in this. When we get to the bottom of this movement, here is what we're gonna do. Here's what I want you guys to do. Another tip I learned from Athlean X. At the bottom of the movement here, this is what you are gonna see. So at the bottom, you go like this, then you go up a tiny bit like this, and then down, and you want to fully contract your tricep as much as possible. So here's how we do it at the bottom. Say we just did a rep, then we go down, up a little bit, then full tricep contraction, go back up, down, up a little bit, full tricep contraction down, and then repeat that. So if we play right here, you will see I'm going up, down, up a little bit, full tricep contraction, then back up. You guys are going to feel that a lot in your biceps if you do that. That is one of the killers for me. And then to end off this superset is some isometric contraction. And that means holding at the top of the movement. So load up this weight with more weight than you're used to and just hold it at the top here as you see I'm doing. It's a really nice finisher for this superset. And it will get your muscles used to more weight than you are used to doing. And it's also just a better contraction. Well, not a better contraction. It's a whole different contraction from what you're used to. And I decided to do it twice here because I was just able to. Now on to the last exercise. And I use this bicep machine that puts my biceps in like a really weird position, but I feel it so well this way. I don't know why. It's just personal preference. A lot of this stuff is personal preference, guys. Pick the cables or machines that you will feel the most. And this should finish off the workout right here. I don't really remember how many reps I did. I'll have it for you guys in the video, obviously. And that is it for this pull workout. Try this out next pull day. And you can kind of mix it up a little bit if you want to, but make sure you're always getting horizontal and vertical movements in. You saw that I started off with 2 vertical movements, which were the deadlift and the chin up. These both require you to go up, but we also want horizontal movements because the horizontal movements are more for thickness of the back, whereas vertical movements are more for the width of the back. And you want to be doing both to get the best development in your back. So make sure that every pull workout you do has horizontal and vertical movements, and make sure you do that bicep tip if you want bigger biceps. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you learned something. If you're gonna go try out this workout, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Signing off.